Your Word is Your Wand by Florence Scovel Shinn. What if every word you spoke was a spell? What if your voice could shape the invisible, bending reality, opening doors, calling blessings into being? You might think words are small, fragile things, but in truth, they are wands of creation. With them, you build your world, brick by unseen brick, and every time you speak without awareness, you cast a spell you didn't mean to cast. Florence Scovel Shinn called this sacred power the Word. She taught that your words are the wands through which the divine mind moves, and once you know how to use that power, your life transforms from chaos to order, from confusion to clarity, from fear to faith. You begin to understand that the universe is not deaf, nor distant. It listens closely to the vibration of every word you speak. Every sentence, every declaration is a command to the infinite. When you say, "I can't," the universe says, "As you wish." When you say, "I am guided," the universe answers, and so it is. Your word is not empty breath, it is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. It carries intention, frequency, and divine energy. It is the brushstroke that paints the canvas of your reality. Florence revealed that people suffer not because life is cruel, but because they misuse the word. They speak carelessly, unaware that they are shaping the conditions they later call fate. You realize how easily the tongue becomes a weapon, speaking doubt, complaint, and fear, and how powerfully it can become a tool for blessing. The word is a double-edged wand. It can destroy or it can heal. You are invited to choose creation over destruction. Every time you affirm love instead of resentment, faith instead of fear, peace instead of chaos, you move the pieces of your world into harmony with divine order. Florence wrote, "A person knows the power of his word. He must speak only words of blessing. To speak a word of blessing is to light a lamp in the dark. To speak a word of doubt is to cast a shadow." You begin to feel a quiet responsibility awaken within you. You can no longer speak mindlessly. You realize that your voice carries spiritual voltage, that every phrase you utter either opens or closes the door to abundance. This realization changes how you live. You no longer repeat words of limitation. You begin to say, "Infinite intelligence now guides my way. Everything I seek is already on its path to me." And something in the air shifts. The vibration of your world starts to rearrange. Florence taught that there is a divine pattern of perfection for each soul. When your words align with that pattern, life unfolds with grace. When your words contradict it, when you affirm lack, fear, or defeat, you step out of harmony. You start to understand that faith is not a feeling, it is a language. When you speak faith, you speak the language of God. Your mind may still doubt, but your words become a torch that leads the way through uncertainty. The tongue becomes your most powerful instrument of creation. It can unlock doors that force never could. Florence called this the law of the word, the understanding that your declarations are spiritual decrees. Each word vibrates through the ethers, attracting to you its likeness. Say, "I am healthy," and every cell in your body begins to reorganize around that truth. Say, "I am poor," and life mirrors your declaration. The universe is perfectly obedient to the word, not the casual word, not the half-believed word, but the word spoken with conviction. She often said, "A person's word is his wand, charged with the power of faith," and you begin to see it's not about repeating phrases. It's about the consciousness behind them. If you say, "I am rich," while feeling fear, the vibration is divided. But when you say it with calm assurance, as if it were already true, the unseen world responds instantly. Florence's wisdom feels like both a secret and a mirror. You realize you've been speaking spells your entire life, blessing and cursing yourself without knowing it. Now, awareness becomes your turning point. You learn to listen before you speak. You measure your words not by grammar but by vibration. You pause before affirming what you don't want to manifest. You replace "I can't" with "I can" through divine power. You replace "it's impossible" with "a perfect solution is already unfolding." And little by little, your language becomes light. Your voice becomes prayer. You stop describing life as you see it, and begin describing it as you intend it to be. That is how the invisible begins to reshape the visible. Florence wrote, "Your word is your wand. The words you speak attract their kind." And so, you watch your words as carefully as a magician watches their spell. You start to see how quickly the universe responds when you speak from faith. A lost opportunity returns. A closed door opens. A seeming delay reveals perfect timing. Because once the word is spoken with faith, it cannot return void. Now you begin to practice consciously. You realize that speaking truth isn't about forcing outcomes. It's about aligning your vibration with divine order. When you declare something with faith, you are not convincing the universe, you are remembering its truth. You understand that the power of the word is not your invention, it's a law of life. And the more you trust that law, the more effortless creation becomes. Florence gives you a sacred pattern: speak your word, release it, and give thanks. Do not repeat it with anxiety, that only shows doubt. Speak it once, clearly, powerfully, lovingly, and let the universe take it from there. It's the same law that moves the stars and causes flowers to bloom. You are working with forces that are infinite, intelligent, and precise. Florence reminds you that your affirmations are not begging prayers. They are spiritual commands, firm, peaceful, and creative. When you speak with authority from divine consciousness, your word becomes law. You begin to experience what she calls demonstrations, visible results that follow invisible declarations. They come not from striving but from trust. You affirm harmony, and conflict dissolves. You speak abundance, and supply appears. You declare guidance, and coincidences lead you exactly where you need to be. You see that the outer world is just the echo of your inner word. At times, you may still falter. Fear may rise. The old patterns of complaint may whisper again. But now, you catch yourself. You stop mid-sentence and choose again. You remember, you are not your circumstances. You are the consciousness that speaks them into being. Florence would say, every word you speak is a boomerang. It returns to you sooner or later with astonishing accuracy. And so you become deliberate. You bless instead of curse. You thank instead of demand. You declare peace instead of fear. Your words become rays of light shaping a new world around you. Soon, you feel a quiet joy, not because everything is perfect yet, but because you finally know how the game works. You no longer wait for proof to believe, you believe, and proof follows. You discover that even a whisper of truth, spoken with faith, holds more power than 1,000 shouts of doubt. Your word is creative substance, your faith its electricity, and your intention the hand that directs it. Florence also spoke of the law of substitution, the practice of replacing negative words and thoughts with their positive opposites. She taught that you cannot fight darkness, you replace it with light. If you are tempted to speak of lack, you instead affirm abundance. If you are tempted to speak of illness, you affirm health. If you are tempted to speak of fear, you affirm divine protection. You are no longer reacting, you are creating. You are no longer describing, you are designing. Each word becomes a step toward the world you choose to live in. And as this practice deepens, something beautiful happens. You begin to experience peace. Not because all problems vanish, but because you no longer hand your power to them through careless speech. You guard your word as a sacred force. You speak with grace. You speak with love. Florence's teachings bring you back to the simple truth that creation is effortless when the word aligns with faith. You don't need to beg life to bless you. You need only to speak as one already blessed. The universe responds to identity, not effort. So you begin to say, I am the beloved of the infinite. I am divinely guided and perfectly supplied. I walk in perfect faith, and everything unfolds in divine order. Each declaration becomes a note in the symphony of your new reality. And soon, life begins to sing the same song back to you. You start to see miracles where you once saw problems. You begin to hear the divine language echo through everything, your words, your experiences, even your breath. You realize that every moment is an invitation to speak truth, to call forth light, to weave heaven into earth through sound. You have discovered your wand, and it has always been your word. Now, as you breathe deeply, you understand. You don't need to search for power outside yourself. The creative force you sought was never hidden. It was resting on your tongue, waiting for you to remember. So you smile. You whisper, "Let there be light," and watch as the world obeys. Because now you know, your word is your wand.